Morning everyone, and welcome back to the Runpreneur vlog, where we discuss all things entrepreneurship and running. It is a brutally cold morning. The feels like temperature has plummeted to -7 today, so it's super chilly running conditions, and there's not even breeze, so think how cold it would be with wind chill factor. Nonetheless, it is Monday Motivation, where we talk all things motivation, productivity, things you can implement into your daily lives to make a difference. And today's topic is the distractions list and why you should do it to be aware of them. So as always, if you like this episode, please give it a like and a subscribe, and let's get started. So the distractions list. Well, this is probably a new one for a lot of people. We're all familiar with the to-do list, the project list, the shopping list. We have lists for everything these days. But you probably won't be overly familiar with the distractions list. And it's such an important thing to understand how you can kind of use it to great effect. Well, the first thing it's pretty much what it says it is, really. It's a list of all the things that distract you. And but the reason you do it, and the reason you keep it updated, is it's to be aware of the distractions. And I think so many people just think, oh yeah, I'm not very productive, but they don't really know why. And when you start listing all the things that distract you, it gives you that awareness, and gives you something that you can kind of work with to improve your productivity levels, rather than trying to tackle it blindly. So I think that's really important. The second thing is that you get all these productivity experts and things talking about different models and structures and things you can kind of implement. And although I believe and agree with 99.9% of them, the one thing I think some of them miss out quite a lot is the point that everybody's so different, and everybody is individual and unique, and what works for one may not work for somebody else, and vice versa. And I think it's really important you understand that, and that's why any type of model that takes into account the kind of variance in our personality types and who we are, different things about us, I think are inevitably going to be more successful in the outcome. And I think that's where this one's such a strong one. So it's easy to do. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. This could be quite a short vlog episode this morning for a change. All you're going to do is you're going to have a list. Okay, so whether you're old school and like to use paper and pen, or whether you use kind of project management software like I do, all my lists and stuff are stored in Asana, my project management software. And all you're going to do, really simply, is just when you're working or doing anything throughout the day, you're going to have access to this list. Okay, so if you're doing it on Asana or something, then you need to have access to it on a smart app. If you're pen and paper, you need to have the pen and paper with you at all times. Okay, otherwise, if you don't do this real time, you'll forget. If you're anything like me, you'll definitely forget. I think my memory is about as good as a goldfish. If it's more than 5 seconds ago, I can barely remember what I've talked about or what I've done. So real-time updates are important, and all you're going to do is go about your daily life, and every time something distracts you, and what I mean by distracting you is pulling you away from the thing that you were setting yourself to do. So I think that's really important. Morning. So it's so just if you're doing something, whatever you're doing, your plan is to complete that individual task or activity that you're doing. If anything captures your attention and pulls you from doing that in any capacity, jot it down on the distraction list. Okay, and quite quickly you'll notice the huge array of distractions that you fight against on a daily basis. So it's like the productivity continuum. On one level it's super productive, on the other level it's super distracted, and every one of these distractions is going to be ushering you back down towards kind of the super distracted part of things. And your aim is to have as few distractions as possible. Now, the reason this is so important is because people will often try and say, oh, I just want to be more productive. But it's not just one thing or one reason that's making them unproductive. It's not. It's probably a culmination of hundreds of different things. And the issue is that it's such a big, arduous task or process, or lack of understanding. If you're looking and thinking, how am I going to make myself more productive? You're looking at it as too big a task. And the idea here is that you're breaking it down into bite-sized chunks by having this distraction list. Because what you're doing is you're identifying all the things that are causing your level of productivity to drop. You're making a list of them, and then you can individually work on them, week by week, day by day. You can look at that list and say, well, what can I do differently about that? And I think once you've got the distractions list, you can put processes and systems and stuff in place to eradicate it, or certainly minimise the damage it's causing to your productivity levels. And I think that's I talked about this before about modularisation of bigger projects, and this is exactly that. Your distractions list is a project. There's loads of different tasks in it. You're just modularising it. So that's the bottom line. And let's just to finish off, let's just give you a few examples of the different types of distractions that you can face. I've got a car coming, 1 second. Different types of distractions. So, for example, the inbound comms are one of the biggest distractions. So what I mean by inbound comms are post. So when your post arrives and you have this underlying urgency to open whatever comes through the letterbox at any given point in time. So post is one. You've got emails. You just check your email inbox. Before you know it, you can waste hours in there. You've got messaging. So whether that's text messaging, WhatsApp, social media messaging, whatever. Okay. As soon as that notification hits your phone, bang, you're pulled from whatever you're doing. Phone calls. Somebody, you're doing something, all of a sudden your phone rings. Bang, you pick up the phone. So that's another one. And people are the one that people often fail to realise. But yes, you know what? It's not a bad thing that sometimes we're in global pandemic, national lockdown 3.0, and we're all working from home. And yes, your spouse, your wife, your husband can be a distraction. So write them down. It's not critical of them, but you're just understanding that they are a distraction to what you're trying to accomplish. Now, of course, they're not a distraction on an ongoing basis, but at that given moment in time, if you're trying to get something else completed and they come and interrupt you, then absolutely they are a distraction. Your children, another one. Okay, don't get me wrong, I spend every minute, every hour of every day with my family, but inevitably I have things I have to get done in order to fulfill my role in the family, and if I'm not getting them done, I'm getting distracted by them, then it's counterproductive. So it's just putting some kind of parameters around what I'm talking about today. So there's a few examples. You could have things like TV. So when you're talking TV, you can talk about all the Netflix, you can talk about YouTube, you can talk about internet browsing, you can talk about video games. There's so many different things that can distract you. You can talk about snacking, there's so many, you can even say exercise to a degree. Could be a distraction, depending on how you manage your kind of diary and on your schedule. So the lists are endless. So it's simple. The rule is, if something is pulling you or capturing your attention when you're set about trying to complete something else, it is a distraction. If it hits that criteria, put it on your list. As you gradually get your list built, you might look to deal with one a month, or you might look to deal with one a week, or even one a day. But either way, you're modularising the whole process, and you're going to tackle a different distraction each day. And I've done a load of lists there, a load of different ones. I'll do a separate episode on each in the future, on the ways and means you can overcome each of what I've just mentioned. And if anybody's got any more, drop me a comment, and I'll try and work out a process on how you can deal with that distraction more effectively. So that's pretty much it from me today. So as always, if you've got any questions and stuff, drop me a comment. I'll respond to everyone. If it's a bigger topic, I'll do a separate vlog episode and tag you in. If it's not relevant for you today, no drama, just to unfollow me and you'll stop getting your social feeds clustering up. But before you do that, please check out my Runpreneur YouTube channel, where I do a different topic on every day of the week. So just because today's topic may not be relevant to you, there could be other topics that I cover that are super relevant. So do check out the channel, and they're all catalogued nice and neatly by playlist, so it should be nice and easy for you to navigate around. And also it's completely free, so don't miss out on that. The other thing is I'm starting to release more and more free resources with the blog, so check out my links in the profiles for all my platforms, and you'll see my first free resource, which is my 70-step process to repurposing, reformatting and optimising your social content across all channels. So if you want to know how I get this vlog out everywhere and how you want to put more content out there more effectively, then do check that out. Hopefully it'll be super useful for you. So all that's left to say is that the Runpreneur blog was set up to help entrepreneurs and business owners overcome the emotions of stress, overwhelm and anxiety by using exercise, or in my case running, as a release mechanism to control those stresses and manage those stresses, relieve yourself of those stresses so that you can stay in control, remain focused and thrive under these emotions that everybody experiences in some capacity. It can often be the difference between success and failure, how well an entrepreneur business owner deals with these emotions. The ones that do it well, as I said, have a release mechanism. The pressure builds, they release. Pressure builds, they release. They've got control of the situation, they're processing it, they're keeping clarity, and they're moving on to bigger and better things. The ones that don't, the pressure builds. If you don't release it, it's like pressure in a pipe. It builds, and before you know it, the pipe bursts. And in that instance, one of two things happens. It's usually either the entrepreneur has a breakdown or the business breaks down. And either or, unfortunately, is highly unlikely that your business is going to last a test of time if you experience either of those. Now, I've been there. I've lost multiple businesses because of this. I've lost multiple business partners because of this, and I've almost been bankrupt because of this. And it's only really in the last 6 months or so that I've got this routine, this ability to process and relieve the stresses on a daily basis that has allowed me to take on more and thrive and grow more in the last 6 months than I have in the previous 3 years. So it's not a coincidence that that's happened at the point in time I've started to integrate this kind of running routine into my life. So my pledge to you is that if you are one of these entrepreneurs struggling with this, okay, I've been there, just drop me a line, drop me a message. Okay, there's no catch whatsoever here. Again, there's no sale, no nothing. I'm so passionate about this because I know how much of a negative impact it had on my life, and I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. So if that is you and you are struggling with this stuff, drop me a message. We'll jump on a call. There's no sale, no nothing. Just I'll give you some free advice that hopefully you can implement into your life and make a major difference in a productive and a positive fashion. So don't be stubborn. Sometimes it's easier speaking to a stranger than someone like a nearest or dearest, but you do need to tackle this. Burying your head in the sands is only going to end in tears. So that's pretty much it for me today. As always, if you like this episode, please give it a like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more similar content, please check out the playlist link in the YouTube channel. And all that's left to say is, as always, stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you tomorrow.